money isn't just money, it's votes. And every time you spend it, you're voting for something. You vote with your time, your money, your attention for the things that you actually care about, not what you say you care about. Whatever wins in that moment is a representative to the priorities that you have. And so in this video, we're going to cover how I think about money at 22 and why I don't chase quick cash and how I'm using money to build long term. All right, cool. So initially, we're going to start with the money is equal to votes concept and why that's so important and fundamental to the way that I approach the game as an entirety. But first, who am I? My name is Sage. I'm the CEO founder of Legacy Africa. Legacy Africa, we build systems and teams around entrepreneurs to take them from solopreneurship to actually owning the business or the initial stages of owning a business, and then they build and systematize from there. If you're an entrepreneur, links in the description. Money is equal to votes. Every decision is a vote. What you spend on, what you invest in, what you ignore, those are your real priorities. So what I mean by that is every time I'm about to make a transaction, every time I'm about to take my wallet out, I ask myself, what am I voting for in this moment? Because when you spend on a night out, when you spend on friends, when you spend on women, when you spend on snacks and Netflix and this, that's money that you could have used, opportunity cost. You had the opportunity to use that on yourself. You had the opportunity to use that on a skill. You had the opportunity to use that Netflix money to get a subscription to a tool. You know, we have AI these days, but there's also different types of software that have been around for the longest time. And you can use that money to buy these things that'll make you better within your job, within your business, within the way that you execute the value that you provide to society, right? I'm not saying that's what you should do. Should doesn't exist for me. I'm just letting you know that the concept that is you use your money to represent within the physical world what it is that you care about realistically, not what you say you care about. That's the truest reflection of your priorities, is where you spend your time, money, attention. Okay. And so we talk about you have the things that you choose to spend money on, and then you have your base necessities. Talk about the base versus excess a little bit more. So there are two layers. Obviously, you have your base needs, your food, your shelter, your survival, and then the excess. That's where it matters because excess is the choice. And so, yes, there are things that you need. And when you live very lean and you're trying to figure yourself out, that's when you realize what is actually like a necessity for you to continue to function. You know, I'll make an example for me. Um, for me, obviously your food, your shelter, your water, your electricity, your internet connections is something that's very important for me. And so there's that. I have to go to the gym. I have to. It regulates my energy levels, this and that. And then I pay for space on iCloud, a little bit more space because obviously I do the content and this and that, and the times where I do the podcast and they have to transfer the things. It's necessary to do what I want to do to move forward. That's it. I don't go out. I don't eat out. I don't buy snacks. I don't. Those are not things that I'm privy to at this stage of my life. Mind you, what I'm talking about right now is not a permanent state of being, but it's certainly necessary. The very violent pulling of time, attention, resources from these things that don't feed into you and who you're trying to be, and pouring it into who you want to be, what you're trying to be, your so-called goals. Um, that is very, very important, especially in the initial stages of a journey, right? So it's very, very important that you use your excess to bet on yourself. Everything after survival, for me, it looks like this. It goes into skills, rooms, access, opportunities. Skills, I can market, I can sell, I can build systems, I connect people, I, you know, uh, just get as much leverage as possible through human resources. And all these things I learned through the the money that I spent to get the books, to get the physical books on human behavior, on psychology, on marketing, on sales, on and the repetition, the practice, paying to be in those rooms, the courses that I've been through, all that that you pay down in order to gain the skills that will allow you to do and achieve these things that you want to do, the rooms, the access, the opportunities. And so Sometimes you do have to, buy a ticket, go to an event. You don't know, you never know who you're gonna meet there. You you travel to these things that cost money. And again, we talk about the opportunity cost. That same money that you've now spent to go to this event, say it's a free event, the same money that you've now spent to go to that event, be it in petrol, be it in e-hailing, be it in, you take a tech, whatever your mode of transport is, it costs you something financially to show up to places like that. It costs you something financially to show up to a meeting, to do a presentation. It costs you something financially to put yourself out there. That same money that you're using to do that, you could have instead used on recreation. And so when you think about money in this way, you start to realize the opportunity cost in having these things on the side, and you realize, like, wait, if I could fundamentally hold on to this and put as much down, we call it the ignorance tax. We call it the inadequacy tax, because if you knew everything that there is to know about your industry, about your business, if you knew everyone, if you knew where to go, who to talk to, what to do, then you would only need one shot on goal. But because you don't, and you're learning, you're paying that down. Every single time you're putting that down, you are putting yourself in better and better positions. You're getting yourself more and more out there. You're more and more known. You know more people. You know what I'm saying? Like, every single time you put that money down, it's all down payment towards being who you ought to be, knowing who you ought to know, positioning yourself in the industry that you want to be known in as what you are and what you can do after you've already gotten the skills. Very, very important. So the rooms, the access to opportunities, or assets. You stack up the money. You get a faster laptop. You get a better camera. You get better lighting. You get, like, the things that then allow you to work smoother, work faster. Digital assets. You put that money down. Again, we're still talking about the excess now, and the things that you can put it down towards, things that move you faster, help you move faster, help you position yourself better within those rooms that you now have access to. Yeah, help you execute more and better within those opportunities that you've gained. We talk about the business, we talk about the systems, we talk about the tools. Using, instead of having a whatever, a Netflix and Amazon and Apple, whatever, a this and that, you can have a ChatGPT subscription, you can have a Claude subscription, you can have a, and you have some combination of these tools depending on the frequency at which you use them. Uh, and you can accelerate yourself, your team. There's so much you can do and have access to. Again, especially at this early stage, when you choose to pull from this and pour into that, it is insane the speeds at which you can move. And people may think it's because you're some sort of genius, or you got so lucky with this opportunity and that thing and that thing. It's like, man, luck finds you when you're on your way. You'll find that there are nuggets of luck that are placed all throughout the world. And the faster you are moving in this one particular direction, the more you're pouring into this one particular direction, the more of those hits of luck you tend to find. Boom, lucky, 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 lucky. You become Mr. Lucky himself. You become Mr. Lucky in person. And that's because your luck will find you when you're on your way, and you'll find your luck. You and your luck will meet at, say, like it's swirling like this. You and luck, you keep swirling, swirling, curving, pivoting, shifting, pivoting, shifting, and you'll find that what would happen is, over time, you do it over the month, over the year, eventually you have the one event that happen, boom, oh, you found your luck, something good happens, and then you shift again and you start drifting and you think about this, and boom, 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 you meet your luck. Versus when you are moving very rapidly, you'll tend to bump into your luck much more frequently. Next thing you know, boom, momentum, 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 momentum. And you find yourself in a position where there's a lot of really cool stuff going on, and you're being taken a lot more seriously as a young entrepreneur, um, because you just seem to be the luckiest man alive. It's all a result of pouring into your craft and what you have going on. So assets, business, systems, it's all the same thing. You're increasing capacity, because as you can hear, I'm talking about how when you do buy these things, you go into these things, you get these things, they make you faster, they make you better, they make your team better, they make everything about what you're able to do better. You've built capacity. And that's a very, very important thing. Is when you don't know what to do, how to shift, how to move, but you know where you want to go, build capacity. Very, very important to just build capacity, get wider, get bigger, get stronger, um, keep molding and shaping, shifting who you are, what you can do, and to the extent that you can do it. Very, very important. And so we talk about systems versus transaction. Most people chase quick money. They chase the transaction. Um, but I'm more focused on systems that pay forever. Very important reason why, because the fastest way to get to 100K is not the fastest way to get to 100 million. So I know a lot of guys, no shade. I know they're probably gonna watch this. I know a lot of my very close friends who are right now a lot cash richer than myself. Um, and I'm a lot more like I'm very is a strong word, but I'm relatively to them very cash poor because they're talking about off one deal, you make 100K here, you pick up a contract there, you make this money, you make that money, and those things are very interesting, and you do get the opportunity to grab money when the market conditions are correct and this, that, and the third. There's a lot of things that have to go right, and you have to be the one selected in order for things to go your way. But there's a lot of money to be made in the short term, being a deal facilitator and taking a cut off the top. There's a lot of money to be made in the short term in just capturing pieces of transactions in large industries. But the ones who win long term are the ones who hold the assets, are the ones who hold and control the assets. That's the most important thing. It's not really about holding, it's about controlling the assets truly. No one being able to change their mind about you overnight and you no longer have a leg to stand on. Being the one who owns the system, who owns the process, who owns the vehicle through which the the fulfillment is facilitated, the problem is solved, whatever the problem may be. That is where the true larger sums of capture are done, even within those same markets. And so, what you'll find is over time, you want to shift from just being a deal maker to being the person that people want to make the deals with, and you're the one who's giving people scraps and pieces. Because again, I talk about 100K here, 200K there, 250, this, that. But the people who are on the each end of that transaction are typically making much larger sums of money, and that's why they can just afford to throw that type of money around. And so there is the opportunity to grab that. But again, the quickest way to go from 100 is not the quickest way to go to 100 million. I'll give you an analogy of, if I told you to build a tower in 10 seconds, right? The tallest tower you could build in 10 seconds, you probably grab some bricks and start stacking vertically. You go up and you go as far as you go. If I told you to build the tallest tower you can in 10 years, you probably wouldn't go straight up initially. You'd probably go as wide as possible. In fact, you'd go deep first. You start digging, you dig wide, then you start filling up. And then so those layers, that foundation that you want to make as wide and sturdy as possible, that is what it takes to build a extremely large tower, building, whatever. That's what it takes. If you have a tree and you want it to be a really large tree, the roots are going to go really deep. The roots are going to go really wide, and that's going to be able to support. Because it's not just about, and I love the tree analogy because it's not just about the depth, the width. It's about the ability to pull the nutrients, to sustainability. Because that's the difference between this tower and this tower. The difference is a little bit of wind, a little bit of friction, a little bit of whatever. This baby right here, nice and wide, it's sturdy, and it takes a lot and not much at all can shake this thing. not much that can break this thing. And that's where we're trying to be. We're trying to, we are in the business of ownership, as I once quoted. And so it's very important to make that shift mentally. And it all starts with how you use each rand that comes out of your pocket today. Realistically, where you spend your time, your attention. Not to say we don't have fun, not to say we don't smile, not to say we don't spend time, attention, resources with family, friends, create moments. Because at the end of the day, we're, regardless of what you're able to achieve within this lifetime, we're all going to leave it here anyway. But if you are someone who has large goals and you are moving towards them quite rapidly, uh, and you are thinking or in a transitional phase where you're not sure what to bet on, what to double down on, my 2 cents would be bet on yourself, double down on yourself, and make sure that whatever it is that you do on a daily basis is consistent with who you want to be. Don't practice who you don't want to be. Don't practice who you don't want to be. Practice being who you want to be. Practice doing what you want to do. Because one day you look up and you're him. One day you look up and things may not be exactly where you want them to be, or they may not be exactly how you imagined they would be when you're there, but you'll notice that no, these are actually the foundations. These are the beginning stages of being someone great. You stay small enough, long enough, and you'll be big enough soon enough. That's the realest thing you'll ever hear anywhere. Um, and so, lastly, money is votes, and every day you're deciding what wins. So the real question is, are you voting for comfort or the life you say you want? And I think that's the ultimate thing that you can have as a takeaway. If you don't take anything else away, it's believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, even from yourself. None of what you say you want, none of what you say you prioritize means anything. Those are just words. What do you do? You say you want it, you say you want to be it, you want to have it. What have you done about it today? Within this 24 hours, because that's one thing that's consistent from the poorest person you know to the wealthiest person in the world. We all get 24. And what did you do with your 24 that would move you forward towards who you want to be or who you say you want to be? What did you do? To say is it's cute, it's adorable. Um, there's bravery in being able to declare things and whatnot, but doing is divine, and doing is what will separate those of us from the rest. If you're an entrepreneur, Legacy Africa, link is in the description. If you're not an entrepreneur and you still enjoyed the video, thank you for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. I have been Sage, standing on business. Signing out.